Dhruv.
Hey.
Hey, man, did you hear the rolling of those D's? I mean,
Those what?
those D's in the Dhruv. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm getting good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. Oh, man. Oh boy. So, you guys are, did I hear right? Are you guys out and about? No longer necessarily confined to your homes?
Yeah, I guess we can roam around in it.
I bet you can, yeah. Good. Is everybody at home right now, though? Anybody not at home right now? I wouldn't expect so, because is it 8:30?
Months being at home only, so yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Are you more sick of your family, or is your family more sick of you?
Probably the other way around.
Definitely my family more sick than of me, so yeah.
Yeah. While we're kind of waiting a little bit, I was just chatting with Mukul, and last night, I don't recall what I was doing. I was filling in some report or some, oops, wait, hold on. I'm going to share my screen, but I just upgraded my OS. And so, oh no. Okay. I have to quit the call. I'll be right back. All right. Good. Sorry. I had to drop. I updated my OS yesterday, and it needed permission to share the screen. Excuse me, to share the screen. Mukul is also trying to join. I'm just going to give him the right link. Okay. All right. Well, hey, look, we're 5 after, so let's talk. Let's have a meeting. All right. Today's the 3rd of July, which for no one else on the call at the moment, except for me, means many fireworks this weekend. And I think my dog's getting a little bit scared every time one goes off. So they'll spend a pleasant night inside the house, I guess. Mukul's trying to get in. Yeah, there we go. And so aside from being 4th of July, while I'm talking on personal notes, one, I've moved rooms. So you're welcome for the fresh background. Hey, Mukul.
Hey, hello everyone.
There he is.
My,
Yeah, hey, Mukul, do you want to take a moment to introduce, to say hi to everybody?
yes. Hey, hello everyone. My name is Mukul, and I have newly joined as a Layer 5 in DevOps, kind of DevOps team. I will work on the GitHub Actions issue. I'm a third year undergraduate student at UPS Dehradun, and really excited to work with you all. Thank you.
Yeah, Mukul. You also went to the, what was it? The North American? No.
Yes. Open Source Summit. Yeah. Hi Shiva.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, I see. Okay. For a second, Shiva, I thought you were talking to somebody else. Oh, very good. Okay. Yeah. Well, Shiva, thank you for inviting Mukul. It's nice to have him. I think he did. Shiva, I guess, curious for your commentary on the conference, on the open source conference.
Yeah, it is quite good. I mean, having a virtual experience. Probably the. I mean, I didn't really enjoy the UI, right? I mean, it was functional, but yeah, I mean, overall, all the different topics and the a lot of good talks as well.
Do you know what platform they used for the conference?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure the name of the platform. I forgot. Give me one second. It's called onlineexperiences.com. But again, I mean, the UI wasn't that good. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was purpose built, but I mean, it was not very user friendly.
Yeah, that's too bad. Okay. Yeah. Well, no doubt those platforms will be perfected before too long.
Yeah, I mean, SCAD is. I mean, it's used every time. It's used for getting to know which all talks are going to take place. But the actual program itself is taking on onlineexperience.com.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess we have a couple of other things to talk about conferences. I forget, there was something that was semi-important to my earlier ramblings. I forget quite what that was, other than I was filling in a form, and I can't remember, but I needed to have reference to what we were doing around Meshmates. And so very quickly, this has been the intention for a while, but just last night, I think I took about 10 minutes or so to toss up a page that begins to describe. Well, it's not that we don't have a description of Meshmates up, that we do, but begins to highlight it a bit more prominently. And to have the same profiles that people have today on Meshry.io, on Layer5.io, for a few reasons. One is that Meshry isn't our only project. We have quite a few now. And so it's an incomplete page if you're a Meshmate and you didn't see your face up there. That's just because it was very hurriedly done. So hopefully that page will be enhanced, not necessarily by me, which is a call for help, by the way. Okay. Good. Am I still sharing my screen? You guys everyone can see the meeting minutes?
Yes, your screen is visible.
All right, very good. Let's get through some announcements. We had some new folks join this week, which is fantastic. Abhishek, are you on the call? No, he's not at the moment. I might have, hopefully he'll watch this recording so he can hear it when I say, I might have scared him off because I asked him to give a demo today. I give a demo after after like 5 minutes after he had created something. So, well, we'll have to. If anybody knows Abhishek Kumar, whom I know Kanishkar does, invite him to the call because he just did some work that we've been waiting for a long time. That work was around support of Meshri CTL version. So I'm excited about it. Anyway, other announcements are if you're speaking at KubeCon EU, which a couple of us are, the talks will be, the talks will be pre-recorded, and the recordings start. I think there's about 3 weeks to record them. The recordings are going to start here shortly. I need to get with Pratik Sahu, whom some of you probably know. He's a graduate. He's a PhD student here at the University of Austin, Texas. And he is going to join me on stage, hopefully still. And then another note was that KubeCon North America, that's to be held in Boston in November, is going to be virtual. The CFP that some of you like Shivai and Naveen and Kush were submitting to, I believe that's been extended.
I mean, actually,
Yeah.
when I was submitting the for the talk, I mean, on the main page it was mentioned that the last date was 28th June, but then on side note it was already mentioned that it had been extended to I mean August 12th. I guess that is the new deadline now. So I mean, already, I mean, since I guess a couple of days back you had made the announcement on one of those channels that that told you not to make it official, but I guess it was already pre-planned way before that.
Oh, I see. Huh, that's interesting. I didn't catch that. Yeah, good eye, Shivai. The interesting thing is, given that people are constrained to, the interesting thing is it doesn't, the extended CFP, well, that doesn't affect maybe some of us that have already submitted, but I guess, but I will say that if anyone is interested in submitting a talk, myself and I suspect others in the community, I'm here to help in terms of reviewing or suggesting topics, or helping with the content for a talk. So if you're interested and would like to collaborate on your submission, just let me know. And then Simon, did you have something to say, or were you okay?
Lee, I am really excited for the KubeCon, and really, but what kind of topic do you suggest that our submitters are going to be good for the talks? Because I think right now one of the few topics that I think it's a very excited one. One is WSL2 in Kubernetes, kind of a Docker and other things, and also there's a kind of a container D shift toward Docker from the container D. These are the two topics I think that's gaining attention. Apart from any other topic you suggest, I really wanted to submit a good proposal that's going to be great for our community as well.
Yeah, there are some other hot well, how should I say hot technologies that I expect will get picked up on and presented. But maybe a better suggestion is that I think also there was a bit of focus and maybe support around talks that were introductory and were helping welcome people into the ecosystem. Sometimes those introductory workshops end up taking place as like a day zero, as a pre-event event. So that's a good thing to note, is that there will be a few pre-KubeCon events that will have their own CFPs. So we should collectively look out for those. Simon, there are a few new additions to the sandbox, actually, the CNCF sandbox, actually quite a few new additions. The rules around the sandbox have been changing about how projects come in. And so there might be an opportunity to talk about some of those newer projects. There won't be any, there's not a lot of additional consideration given to the sandbox projects. That's actually one of the things that's changing around them, is that they're intentionally not being uplifted or marketed like they were in the past. And that's on purpose.
Yes, definitely. I think sandbox projects are gaining more popularity in moving days because we know that Kubernetes has a very steep learning curve, some very associated things that doesn't people even understand what they are. So I think sandbox projects are gaining more popularities in, and I think that's the contents we are putting in our Learn Layer 5 category, and other that's due to it recently. I think it's probably on Wednesday or Thursday. Kuma, or I really forget the name of that sandbox, but I think it's gaining really popularity in the Twitter world. There's everybody tweeting about it and showing. So I think I really want some good topic from you, and I'm really getting to it. And try to put a great topic that excites the learners and also the community as well.
Yeah. If we had, I had approved Kuma's entrance into the CNCF a few weeks ago now. Kong had waited to make an announcement, I think in part because the project itself still was under their organization in GitHub. The Meshery adapter for Kuma is just in an alpha state. I've spoken with the Kong CTO last week, again, to invite them to come write that. I don't hold out hope that they necessarily will. I think he's positive on it. I do consider that they will engage in SMPS though. And that actually is a topic unto its own to submit, is the notion that Service Mesh Performance Specification, SMPS, is that as a topic is something to potentially talk about. Okay, very good. Other topics. So by the way, I should have mentioned at the beginning of the call, asked for a call for topics. If anyone has an item that they want to discuss, please toss it on the list.
Also, Lee, just as a part of the KubeCon, I also heard the emails regarding Service MeshCon as well. It might be on the August, or I really don't forget, but it's a Service MeshCon. It's also going to be virtual, or what kind of it?
Yep, it'll be virtual as well.
So do we participate in that? I think we definitely should.
Yeah, there's a lot of background there. There's a lot of politics involved. Yeah, I'm not on the program committee for that conference. Yeah, there's a lot of things I wouldn't say on the record about that conference. Yeah, you're right. We should be involved. Absolutely. Actually, the recording that's up on Layer5 IO that talks about Meshery, that was us presenting Meshery before Service Mesh Con was a thing. It was called Service Mesh Day, and then it was donated to the CNCF and now called Service Mesh Con. But I think there will be an NSM Con as well. Last year, Kong had a Service Mesh workshop, I think. So no doubt they're going to be trying to do more again this year. Yeah. All right. So Meshery CTL version support. We'll wait for Abhishek Did anyone invite him just now? Abhishek?
Yeah, I've been chatting with him. He will be joining.
Oh, okay. Another topic is the stable release channel that's being established. Is there Lidor or Kush that's on that can talk about this? Actually, neither of the two of them are on. So let's talk about it a little bit later. Tanuj, do you want to say a few words about Layer5 NG?
Yeah. So currently we have made the theme workable for made the changes basically to the theme. I think Mukul is working on the publishing it to the GitHub pages currently.
Nice. Who's working on that again?
I think Mukul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I have seen your steps. I'm building on local machine. Then I will make the workflow. Okay.
Nice. That's a great point, Tanuj. Mukul, I don't know that we had described that the ideal target or deployment target is GitHub pages. So, so hopefully that works pretty well.
And we can also just also have that on Netlify as well, since it's a React-based site. So whatever changes are made, like we have for mesh.io, we can get that added on Netlify.
Shivai, go ahead, Mukul.
Yes, we can also deploy it in Netlify. Yeah, I have to check out some GitHub action that deploys in Netlify.
So actually, we have our own sort of I mean, what do we call it? Like a source on Netlify, which already has the mesh.io site live deployed, and the basic use for it is that whenever someone makes a pull request, and even for the Layer5 repo as well. So I mean, you can actually preview the changes. So similarly, we can do it for the Layer5 ng like repository as well, since it's currently under development, so a lot of bugs and issues will be there. So having that also will be a good option for quick testing purposes.
And Shivai, remind me, I think that might be something that I think you have access to that system, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Yeah.
That provided Kush and me the access, and someone else. I'm not.
Okay. As you, well, very good. With Shivai, maybe as you shepherd in, and dare I say, maybe pair up with Mukul as a mesh mate, that might be something that's sort of at your discretion. Maybe you'll get him in there, or maybe assist with that setup.
Sure, absolutely.
Nice. That's a good suggestion too. It's really helpful, the previews for Netlify. There's actually, and there's a little bit of an open issue that Abhishek was taking a look at, and so is Nikhil and I, and that's that there's on Layer5.io, when you go to do when a preview build is created, there's a few URLs that don't work. They don't redirect properly. And the ones that we were looking at had to do with the programs.
So the Netlify build URL that is created, they don't build properly, or you're saying that once we go to that Netlify build of the website, they don't point to certain URLs that they don't point them correctly.
The second one, the latter.
Okay,
Here's a quick example, and that's that. Here's a PR that was submitted. A preview deployment was made. So if we go look at the preview deployment, you'll be you're looking at the site, you're testing out your changes, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, thank you, Naveen. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 programs here that we participate in or do. and you can see, I don't know if you can see, it's probably pretty small on your screen, but the link at the bottom, okay, interesting.
Can't see the link.
Yeah, /community bridge 2020 or /GSOC 2020. So if I click it, the page doesn't exist. So
it should be /program/ right?
That's exactly what I was just realizing. Although if we go to the real site, it doesn't have /programs here, and the permalink.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a /pro. Actually, to your point, Shivai, actually, we sort of, setting aside the Netlify issue that we were just looking at, but just speaking in generalities, we would do well to change up that structure and have it be /programs /GSOC /2020. You know.
Yeah, I mean that does make more sense. I mean, because it's part of that program's list. So I mean, having that route it will be more meaningful.
Yeah.
I guess the PR was raised about that, as in the change was corresponding to the one that we get
relative path.
Oh, I see. So Abhishek, now it comes full circle for me. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what the original issue. That's what you were attempting to accomplish in the first place. Okay.
Yeah, and the issue here was that it was working perfectly when I built and ran it in my local, but during the Netlify build, it's kind of not redirecting to the proper permalink.
But since you have changed the relative path as well, I mean, then that's a bit strange that why it didn't show up within the Netlify build. Probably, can we have a look at the logs, or could you share the logs which are being created once we try to? I mean, we could possibly have a look at the logs that are built.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just sorry for the interruption. I checked it on the Netlify preview. The issue that is happening is that when we are opening the preview, when we are seeing the preview, Netlify preview, on clicking the programs link, that is like Community Bridge or GSOC, it's going to actual Layer5 IO URL. It's loading the actual Layer5 IO.
Okay.
That's why it's not able to find the site instead of loading it in the preview.
No, but I mean, if we look at the site page, it does still show the deployment page itself, right? So where did you find that it was actually redirecting it to the main site?
Yeah,
well, in the URL.
Yeah, in the URL itself. Yeah, okay.
But URL is still there in the deployment side only from Netlify.
Yeah, I checked that. I was myself a bit confused on why was this happening, because I just checked it now when we commented to check it out. So when we click on that programs link, it redirects to Layer5 IO /programs /GSOC. And because the page is not yet created or the PI is not yet merged, there isn't any page which it could show. But when we go to the /GSOC /2020, it shows up again. Don't know why is it happening.
No, but Nikhil, you're saying that when we go to the deployed site, and if we click on GSOC, you're saying that it redirects to the Layer5 website, the actual Layer5 website.
Yeah, correct.
But it's in the URL. I mean that Lee is doing right now. It still shows the the preview site only, at least in the URL.
I know. I will share my screen if just to say share just to say. Yeah, this is it. So this is the Netlify preview for that on which Abhishek was working. So when I hover over this programs icon, you can see if it's visible or not. It's the Layer5.io /programs /GSOC/2020 instead of giving the Netlify URL, and it gets redirected to Layer5 site.
Okay.
Oh,
But when I go to this page and type /gsort 2020, it reads. It doesn't read that. Don't know why is that happening. But yeah, this was the issue. It was coming. So I don't know, but maybe we can try merging the PR and checking it once.
I mean, we can
There is
always
a
roll
way.
back to the
Yeah, we
original.
can always roll back. Yeah, correct. Just to confirm if it's an issue with the Netlify or the code itself.
nice. Okay. All right. Next topic is mesh sync a bit. So for better or worse, the repo is referred to as the mesh reoperator, which is more of an aspirational name at EAP, I guess, at this point. Nitish has he just put up a PR last night for a little bit of scaffolding for the custom controller. At EAP, maybe worth just a brief look. There really wasn't a lot in there. So the concern, the outstanding concern for me, or one of the bigger ones, is the mesh specific code that we'll need to put in. I don't know. Yeah. It's a little bit of a concern because it's what we were talking about the object model, the relationships between mesh specific objects and
Yeah, so like I guess the scaffold which you just merged, right? So I will add something specific for Istio. Maybe in the next week this should be done. So in that case, I guess we will need to have separate clients for separate. Like we will need to use the Istio client. I guess same way there must be a Linkerd and the other meshes. So not sure how will this shape up as a project, but yeah, initially I guess need to use some of those things. So
yeah,
maybe some specific logic needs to be embedded there.
Right. Yeah, that I'll try to give that some thought because that makes the code fragile, harder to sustain, not makes it not generic. I mean, like in an ideal world, we're just interfacing with Kubernetes and its objects. Granted, many of those objects will be custom resources that are mesh specific, but at least the mechanics by which we look at those objects would hopefully be uniform. Like hopefully we would be, like it's the specific exchange that we will have as we interface with each mesh. Right now, that's done inside of the adapters. And so I'm not sure if I'm thinking about it in the right way. If the use cases that we have, if the use cases that we have right now require the custom controller to speak to a specific mesh, I don't know that we have those use cases just yet. We want the custom controller to understand the CRDs, but we don't need to use Istio's client specifically to do that.
Yeah, I agree on that part. Like that does not make it generic. Let us try to use the dynamic client, the unstructured client, to directly say that we want to list virtual services. or specific to that. So I guess that can also come up. I still need to really write some code and then analyze that part. How will that work? So I have the weekend here, so I hope you understand that part. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't have the answer either. It's just concerning, or it's not like it's not that we shouldn't go use a specific meshes client. It's just that just before we do that is the appropriate point of reflection to really analyze if we have to, if there's another way. But nice. Okay, good. So fireworks in the US this weekend and a bit of custom controller in for Hadeep this weekend. Okay. And another item to chat through, there's probably a couple, and we can open up the floor after that and talk about anything. Well, there's actually three, but one of them is just a brief mention. Kanishkar had been working on enhancing the mesh-rectl perf, this command, to better support the service mesh performance specification and its file format. He had actually had this available in the past, so this isn't brand new that mesh-rectl perf supports SMPS, the SMPS format. The difference this time is that that specification, service mesh performance specification, I'll pull it up, now contains a number of proto files, so a number of protobuf files that go about describing, they go about describing how you would do performance testing of a service mesh. So now that there are those protobuf files, we can take advantage of those, import that package, and import or use a Go client from Meshry server to interface with this spec. And that's the update there. That's the part that is changing. So I'll pause there in case there's comments or questions.
Lee, I guess I joined late, but you wanted to discuss something around the PR.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go over to Abhishek. So you're talking about mesh-rectl version.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, very good. Yeah, let's go over to that. Do you want to introduce the work?
Yeah, sure. So it's just a minor PR in which basically when we do a mesh-rectl version command, we used to get just the version of the client and the commit hash of the corresponding client or the corresponding commit, and also we would be getting the server version along with it. But I had also added the server. I had also added another hash that corresponds to the server's commit hash, so that in later stages when we split the code, we can have different hashes maintained.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's a PR for sort of adding another Git SHA for which corresponds to the server. So cool.
Nice. And so,
yeah.
Abhishek, I'll stop presenting so that maybe you can share. But in the PR that you've just submitted, does this also build out? And I guess it looks like it doesn't. But kind of a prerequisite to being able to get the server info is to have a REST endpoint in Meshry server, so that mesh-rectl can call that endpoint.
Yeah. Okay. So should I? So right now it is the hash is the same as sort of the client's commit hash. Do you want me to present it right now?
Okay. You know, actually, now I um, no, actually, I think we can maybe forego the presentation. Just I had considered that maybe you had implemented the REST, the new endpoint, and that would be worth demoing.
No.
But okay. But you're on a path to doing that. So maybe next week. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. But so at the moment you're sort of continuing to stub out the server Git SHA. And I say stub out because it's kind of fake information because that server information would actually need to be retrieved from Meshry server.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay, good. You're on the right path then. Okay. Makes sense. And I think a lot of people on the call, or a number of people on the call have some context for that enhancement because it's been there for, I think some of the issue numbers for that go back to like 211 or something. It's been there a long time. So, okay. Thanks for that, Abhishek. So there's only one other topic that we'd had listed. Before we talk about this one, I'll ask, does anyone else have things to chat through? Stuff they want to talk about?
Hilly Nupur this side. I have just like opened layer5io layer5.io after a long time, and I just saw that uh, there we have tiles for GSOC 2020, GSOC 20, GSOD 2020, and community bridge, and then layer5. So their community bridge seems different from other three. So is it intentional, or the tab, just the tab when we
No, not really. That great eye, by the way, and it kind of bugged me when the buttons went up. That yeah, it is different. The reason that it's different is that the community bridge logo is not well. The version of the logo that we're using is this full word, like this whole thing is an image, and that's why it's a different format, because over here it's an image and text, image, text, image, text, and then just full image. Now, that said, I think if you do a quick search for their logo, like I think it is the case that, so right here, it's the case that this whole thing is an image, but I'm pretty sure that this small circle can be found independently. And
okay, I look for it, and if I find it, I'll send it on the
oh, that's great.
Slack.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Other items.
Lee, I have one. I have asked on the Slack that I want to create a repository containing all the resources containing everything related to service mesh. So I think we can create this repository in our layer info kind of, and I put some resources out there. So I am asked everyone if they have some useful resources, we can put that in the repository, and the user can see our repository and jump right to what they are want to learn. It's a very useful thing. I have quoted some example repo that's some related to the Istio for that. It's containing everything related to Istio in one repository. So I want a repository that's containing every most popular service meshes and put them in Layer5 info.
Nice. Yeah, let me pull that up. Oh, okay. Are you? That's a link that you had put into the chat a little while ago. I was just looking for it. Yeah, and if I recall, yep, we'll want to talk about having that as a layer 5 repo so that we can support and elevate that. If it's if you want to keep it separate, that's fine as well. We just won't spend as much time on it probably.
Lee, I put the chat on the link that I find that's a very good history of resources. So I kind of same repository. I think it put that in the layer 5 info is a good thing. I can put the repo as well, but I think it's putting. I want to put them in the layer 5 repository.
Oh, I got it. Now I see the link that you shared. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What do you think a good, so it sounds like, I think what you're suggesting is, hey, we should go ahead and establish a new repo. And if that's the case, do you, what would you, what suggestions do you have for the name of the repo?
I think it's a trickier question. There is so many meshes. How to? I think we put a great name in future, but right now I can put as a layer service mesh info or layer 5 info kind of a thing. Not a layer 5 info. It's kind of a service mesh info kind of. And in future we can came up with a good name as well. So that's hit the user that what these resources are.
All right, very good. Yeah, great suggestion. Let's do that. I'm taking an action item. Yeah, it makes sense. On that point, Simon, there are, yeah, as we reflect on that and think about that repository and how we can make it as best as we can, a few thoughts. One is that most of us are probably familiar with the awesome lists, or I don't know that they all follow a particular format, but that's a common approach. As we okay, so that's one thought. The other one is there are other people have some similar lists, like the one that you were pointing out, and so going over and adding some of our initiatives into those other lists, that's probably a great thing to do. As a matter of fact, the one that you had pointed out, I think it has an open PR from me to list some of our works. But I know Ajit Singh, who's a Docker captain and has asked to come work at Layer 5. He has a list as well. A couple of the guys like Jimmy Song of the Service Mesher community, they have a large community. They have a list as well. And I think Ashish, I think you'd submitted to list some of our, anyway, point is there's a number of other sites or lists that we should be adding into. So that's good. Creating a list here, that's a beautiful thing. We should absolutely do that. The content of that repo is also excellent fodder for putting onto the Layer 5 putting in HTML format as well. I mean, it works well both in in Markdown, just in README style things, and also will work well for an ongoing list in HTML on the .io site as well. So it's a great suggestion. Let's go do it.
Also, Lee, one pending suggestion to do work is that I asked you that we have some mailing list for that. Subscribes our website have a mailing list. So I think we can put some resources to the users that we have email available for us. So they can know what's happening in this week or in a month, in a years with the Layer 5. So I'm pretty much up for it. Connect some good user trust. I think it's a good time we can do that because KubeCon is on the arrive as well. Surface MeshCon on the arrive left. So let people familiar with what our works is well.
You totally. Thinking about how to actually accomplish that, I've got a couple of suggestions. Because Simon, you're right. This is one of the things that we're failing at. Like we're doing decent in other areas, but there's so many really interesting things that the community works on that we're not telling people about, and we're not highlighting the works of some of the things that you guys are doing. It's a miss, and so we took a little bit of a step forward in creating that content calendar, which is helpful, but that content calendar is not an actual newsletter. So the thought here is that maybe a collaborative newsletter might actually improve our chances of getting there, of like actually having something to send out. So like a community curated newsletter might be the right way to go, because I'm not getting us there. But individuals like you and others that can collaborate on something of a regular newsletter. Yeah, I mean, that might be the way to go as well.
Yes, Lee, I'm pretty much in for it. So I think we have chat about some Docker captain here as well, like Nuno. So they asked some suggestion how we can do that. Let's put them some work, some plan out, and ready to do it.
That's not that difficult. Like this is something I think like the podcasts or like the YouTube live or LinkedIn live. We will get to those. Those are harder, but this one is within reach. Like yeah, we should go do it, and we've got multiple lists.
So part of a learning that I actually some kind of a learning how we can do that on my behalf. How can I can do that? What I do is I have a email addresses for local members that's working in my area, Islamabad. So I have emailing every DevOps things related to them and putting them in email weekly. I have a mailing list kind of thing. So I can learn how I can do that, and probably I can very much in that in a learning process. I can do that for Mishri and Safari. I think that's I think I spoke about that in 2 or 3 months before is that, and I'm really waited for that. That's actually attempt to do from in progress and eventually the complete stage as well.
Nice. Yeah, that's right. Maybe nice, good suggestions, Simon. I really hold me to it. Hold me accountable if we don't take some steps forward here, because we need to do it. Both of these are things that we can move on this week. These two suggestions. There's no the first one here about the repo. There's no reason not to go do it. This one, there's no reason not to go do it. There's a little bit of pre-planning, a little bit of forethought that we should give, but we should go do it. Well, five minutes left. Let me. Does anyone else have another topic? Else, I have one, and I'll keep it to the 5 minutes. This has been something that Simon is quite familiar with. It's been one of our initial topics within the CI working group, the continuous integration working group that meets on Mondays. And that is the establishment of release channels for Meshry and for Meshry adapters. We've had upwards of 40 releases of Meshry. I think we're on 0.3.17 right now. We don't seem to be able to get out of the .3. We need to get to .4. It's been way too long. We'll have to get there. But the mechanics by which we've been making releases of the artifacts of the software itself we have not had as many controls around that as we should. And up until this week, it has been the case that whenever a pull request is merged to master in the Meshery repo, a Docker, a build would be created, a Docker image would be made and pushed to Docker Hub, which means anytime someone goes to run Meshery, they'll pull down that copy. They'll pull down the latest merge to master. And that's not a lot of control, right? Because if you've been looking through the code, there's not a lot of test cases. And so there's bound to be bugs, there's bound to be things that go wrong. Having a little bit of control over when the actual artifacts are delivered to users is something that we've needed for a while. And so as of this week, there is essentially a stable release channel that has been established. And the way that this works is described really well, actually, inside of the build and release strategy document. If you're interested. Anyway, it's in the build and release strategy doc is in the community team drive. But part of the mechanics by which the stable release, the stable channel is established is actually through use of Docker tags, Docker image tags. So maybe the easiest way to go take a look at that is to go out to Docker Hub. Only 2 of the Meshery artifacts are now now inside of the stable release channel, if you will. So Meshery itself, Meshery server is. You can see that the last time that we made a release of v0 3.17, there were 3 maybe tags assigned, maybe 4 tags assigned. So there's always the latest tag that's kind of available inside the repository. The image that was pushed up when we made this release 3.17 is this image right here. It has this digest. So there's 1, 2, 3 tags on that image. The 3 tags are stable-latest, stable-the release tag number, and stable-the git commit SHA. The 2 that are the most important and really the only one that's being used right now that becomes that stable release channel is this stable latest. We don't have time to sort of explain all of the rest of the mechanics, but I'm excited that we're finally getting a little bit of control over how it is that things are merged and differentiating that, the merging of code from the releasing of code. We've long had those controls in place for Meshery CTL, the command line client. We haven't had those controls in place for Meshery server or the Meshery adapters, but that is now changing. So good progress. If you're interested in the rest of the mechanics, I'll put the link to this doc in the meeting minutes so you can have a look.
Lee, just a clarification. So while you mentioned Docker tags, you meant that you'll be tagging them based on Git tag, right? As in the Docker tag would be the same as a Git tag of the or the version tag.
Yep. Keep going. I'm not sure if there was.
As in, what I mean is that the Docker tag or the tag that you'll be specifying with every image of the Docker, that would be the same as the git tag of the particular of the repository, right? As in the so whenever you do a release, you uh, tag it with the version, and that would be the same as Docker tag, right?
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Such that, and you can kind of verify that yourself, or anyone can, if you end up going to the releases page for Meshery and take a look at, like, this release tag and the associated git commit. So 936 CD14 9. Yep. And so we come in here and it's stable -93. And this is arguably not necessary. Like, this isn't strictly necessary for how we're controlling releases, but we're including this tag on the image because of two reasons. One, it's free. You can use as many tags as you want. But two, it's just generally good hygiene, is just generally a good way of confirming for sure that this particular image, this Docker image ID, this hash, is associated to a specific git commit. And it makes it convenient to do that quick correlation, which Abhishek is very much related to, or it's exactly related to what you were working on in Meshery CTL version. As a matter of fact, let me prove that as the final thing that we do on this call. If I can find where it's good. So we were just now saying this is the git commit SHA that's associated to this tag that we bundled up and released, all of these changes into. And we confirmed that on Docker Hub. It's the same number here. And then, actually, when you run Meshery CTL version, 936 CD14. So, wow, look at that. It looks like we actually know what we're doing. We're a few minutes after. That's probably about it. Nice to see you all. Thank you for coming. See you in a week. By next week, we'll have a service mesh repository, and maybe we'll actually have a newsletter out. We'll see.
Yes, Lee, waiting for that.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, guys. See you all next time.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye, guys. Bye, Nikhil. Bye, Abhishek.
Bye. Thank you.